Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
And welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and today we have a lot to discuss as there were some games that took place last night, as well as a lot of games today, all day today. We have to discuss where's Derrick Rose. Seems to be the question that everyone has been asking these last 24 hours. A quick update on what's going on with him, as well as some updates on what happened around college basketball last night and a preview for what's taking place tonight. I'm excited because now that college football is officially over, we are 100% into college basketball season. I know that college basketball season has been going on, but this is the time when it starts getting real fun as we look forward to March Madness. I can't wait. I really cannot wait. So, first let's start off with the Thunder and the Bulls. The Thunder topped the Bulls at home 109-94. My guy, Russell Westbrook, had 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 14 assists. And I'll say it again, this is my guy. I love Westbrook, and after a performance like last night, it's really difficult. I know people get on him saying that he is a selfish player. He doesn't pass the ball. He tries to be the savior. Yes, and yes, and yes. I agree. There are times when he kind of frustrates me with his style of play because there have been times, especially last season, in the playoffs when they had that little short playoff run, I really thought he needed to work on passing the ball. And we even discussed in yesterday's episode how we want him to kind of mature. We were talking about James Harden and how his game is maturing. He's being less of a selfish player and looking into ways to incorporate other members of his team. And I really think that if Russell would have done that in the playoffs last season, that they really would have had a better run, because he was trying to play 1-on-5 basketball and it wasn't cutting it, and sometimes if you got to take a different approach. So I'm really glad that he is, at least last night with those 14 assists, really adding in the rest of his teammates and making sure that they're touching the ball and scoring. Dwayne Wade with the Chicago Bulls, he had 22 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. No surprise there. He's definitely he's getting a little bit older, but he still got it. The Mavericks came to visit the Timberwolves last night. They lost 92-101. Dirk had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, consistently a great player for that team. He's one of those guys that has stuck around with one team through the good, bad, ups and downs, and has continually given his all every night, night in and night out. Karl Anthony Towns, he had 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. I love Karl Anthony Towns. I cannot wait to see what he develops into. I love his style of play. I love how much he dominates, and I love the Timberwolves, and I can't wait for this. I'm glad that they got this win in, because they're not really like in this slump, but it's just like I'm waiting for them to have their breakout. I'm really waiting for the Timberwolves to just go crazy, maybe next year. Then we had game 3 of last night. That was actually, I believe, the first game of the night, but I kind of wanted to put them off for a little bit to discuss. But the Pelicans came to town to see the New York Knicks, and they beat them 110-96. Anthony Davis, one of my favorites. I love Anthony Davis. 40 points, 18 rebounds, and 2 assists. And I'm saying it, if you've been listening to the podcast, you guys know I love a great comeback story. I love when guys get over injuries and come out stronger than ever. And Anthony Davis is having a year. I'm so excited for him. I really just want him to stay healthy. I want him to be his body to be able to keep up with his amazingness. That is Anthony Davis. And then Brandon Jennings of the New York Knicks, he had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. But I think the big story coming out of this game has been the absence of Derrick Rose. Now, Derrick Rose, he was there for Monday's, practice before the game. He was there. He was there for morning shoot around, but then he was nowhere to be found, and no one knew where he was for the game against the Pelicans. Now, the Knicks are kind of in this low slump right now. They've lost 7 of the last 8 games, so they really need a win to kind of break out of this slump right now, but they were not able to do that on Monday. And Derrick Rose, being their starting point guard and clearly one of their best players on the team, it really was difficult for them not having Derrick Rose. And I think also not knowing where he was and what was going on. What was he doing? Was there a reason why? And I think last night, especially because there was no word from Derrick Rose to, his staff, his coaching staff, to any of his teammates. A lot of his teammates were very, very concerned about his whereabouts as well, because literally no one knew where he was. Courtney Lee said that he was even praying for him because he was so worried and had not heard. Because, when you have your guy, one of your teammates at shoot around that morning, and then everything's cool, no problem, everybody seems fine, and then we have game time and you just don't show up and we have no clue where you are, that's concerning, And I think a lot of people, it was half and half for people. I think some people were concerned, and then there's some people who were saying maybe he just blew off the game, because he has been having some, tension between him and Coach Horniak. So there have been some speculation. Did he just not want to show up? Is he missing, or is he just deciding to, strike or something like that? Because if you fall back to Friday's game, they did beat Milwaukee, so they beat the Bucks. However, Rose was benched the entire fourth quarter. Now, I don't know if I'm going to sit out the game because I'm pissed off at the ref, or not at the ref, pissed off at the coach and just a little bit annoyed. I'm not going to come to shoot around on Monday either. So I think based upon that, they should have concluded that something else was up. It has been just recently today, just now, that the Knicks have seen him today. So he was at the facility today, as in Tuesday the 10th. He was there this morning, and it's been brought to everybody's attention that he actually flew home for a family emergency. Last night, his guy, Joakim Noah, did say that he spoke to him, that he was okay, because a lot of people were concerned about his whereabouts as far as his health. Was he okay? Was he in trouble? Did something happen? But no, so it was determined that he did fly back to Chicago, where his son and most of his family does live, and that he had to catch that flight, and due to a family emergency, again, like I said. And so we're not quite sure what's going on as far as that's concerned, whether or not Derrick will let us know why he left. It's up to him, of course. And then also, we will determine and find out, I'm sure they're going to let us know soon as well, whether or not he's going to face any consequences. Because, again, he did leave, and it's been so far determined for a family emergency, but because he did not leave, he wasn't really given permission, he wasn't really cleared, he didn't let anybody know until after late after the game and early this morning. He's back at the facility this morning. But will he face any consequences? Will he be suspended for a game or two? Will he be fined? Whatever. We'll have to keep you guys updated on that one as as updates come in, whether or not he even will, because I don't know. If it's a family emergency, I get it, but we can just have a conversation. Don't let that happen again. Let us know next time. Shoot somebody a text, something like that. I don't know, but dependent upon the situation, maybe he won't face anything, and us getting all riled up because we think that he's mad at coach is just going to be put to rest. So with that, we're going to take it to our first break, and when we come back, I want to discuss college basketball as well as some games that are happening tonight in the NBA. So keep it locked here. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm getting a little tongue-tied, so it's really tongue-tied. So it's really time for a break. So we'll be right back. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and tonight we have a 9-game matchup. So there is going to be a lot of basketball playing going on tonight, which is exciting because, like I said earlier, now that college football is over, and we're kind of getting to that point where the NFL is wrapping up as we look forward to the Super Bowl in a few weeks. It is basketball time, and I love it. This is my favorite time to watch SportsCenter, all the shows, because it's a lot of basketball talk, and that's what I love. That's what I love to listen to. That's what I love to watch. It's just so much fun. But anyway, so tonight is going to be a night filled with basketball. So we have the Chicago Bulls taking on the Wizards tonight, which I did forget to mention. So with the Chicago Bulls, they have been having, some friction with Rajon Rondo. Now, I don't know. Okay, so I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, so Rajon was scheduled last night. So Monday night was scheduled against, so they played the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it was scheduled to be Rajon Rondo bobblehead night. So when you come in, the fans get a Rajon Rondo bobblehead, which is cool. Those are always fun when you get giveaways, but Rajon was benched on Rajon bobblehead night. I don't know. Okay, so he was the only player. Okay, so it's okay to get benched, I mean, poop happens, but He's the only player on the entire team who did not play. He has been benched for the last 5 straight games. So he hasn't played since they lost to the Pacers on December 30th. He did sign a 2-year deal with the team worth $28 million. And he was suspended earlier in this season for conduct detrimental to the team. So he did serve a 1-game suspension earlier this season. And, you know, he hasn't been quiet about his disdain for being a bench warmer. He was saying that that if this is going to continue much longer, that he definitely does want to be traded, that there's no need for him to stay. He doesn't want to stay. He's not going to stay. He wants to be traded. So, I don't know. If I was a fan and I went for Rajon Rondo night, because you know how they advertise these nights beforehand, I don't know, maybe the fans were expecting it to happen, or maybe everybody thought he'd at least touch the ball and touch the court for a second on Rajon Rondo night. But he is, you know, as of right now, missing in action. He has been on the bench. So they're going to face off against the Wizards tonight. We have the Celtics and the Raptors. Our guy Isaiah Thomas, he's been averaging 28 points per game, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists. So I'm looking for him to show out against DeMar DeRozan as well. We have the Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets facing off, followed by the Hornets and the Rockets. I just loving all these games that we're going to be having. We have the Bucks taking on the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard, he's averaging 23.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 3.1 assists. We had the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Utah Jazz, which should be, you know, a good game. They're going to be in Salt Lake City. I'm looking forward to that. We have the Trailblazers and the Lakers. Now, the only Laker games that I've ever been to, they've always played the Trailblazers, and they've always lost to the Trailblazers. So we'll see how this goes. The Lakers are 10-10 at home, whereas the Trailblazers are 6-15 away. So more than likely it's going to be in favor of the Lakers tonight. We have the Heat facing off against the Warriors in the Oracle Arena tonight. That starts at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hassan Whiteside, we're looking forward to that. Kevin Durant. Now, Draymond Green has said that this is kind of like an experimental season. They're trying to figure out the chemistry for the Warriors. They're trying to figure out what's going on, trying to see how they all mesh. So this exciting, epic super team that all of us were looking forward to at the beginning of the summer when Kevin Durant decided to take his talents to the Oracle, it's fizzling out. I don't know if some of you guys are still excited for it. You guys think that it's going to come in time for playoffs? I don't know. Seems like it's fizzling out. Then we have my Kings hosting the Pistons. But my problem with this is the Kings are 7-10 at home, whereas the Pistons are 8-12 when on the road. So we have Andre Drummond facing off with my guy DeMarcus Cousins. Hopefully DeMarcus is coming in with, looking for a win. I hope so, because we need him. We have DeMarcus. He's averaging 28.1 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. So, you know, if he can just be the DeMarcus Cousins that we all know and want him to be, that would be great for everyone involved, especially guys like me. So it's going to be looking forward. And this just in, it looks like LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be out tonight for the Spurs and Bucks matchup. So that's going to add a different flare up for the Spurs this evening. So keep it locked here. I'm going to take a quick break, the last break of the podcast. When we come back, we have to discuss college basketball. So keep it locked here. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I will be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Back to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. We're getting ready to wrap up this episode, but we have some college basketball to discuss. So tonight is going to be a lot of fun with college basketball as well. So you guys are going to kind of have to flip through if you have some of these channels between NBA tonight as well as college basketball tonight. So last night we had a few games, not too big time of games, but there were some good games last night as well. We had, South Alabama played Georgia Southern, lost to them on the road. Georgia Southern had 84, South Alabama 79. Hampton beat Savannah State 84-80. And then, so there were some good games last night as well. But looking forward to today, like I said, with some big name games that we have going on. We have Syracuse and Virginia Tech at 4 o'clock. Auburn and Missouri, 4 o'clock as well. Xavier and Villanova. We have Baylor and West Virginia, and as well as Kentucky and Vanderbilt. So there's going to be a lot going on tonight as far as basketball is concerned. Ohio and Buffalo, Morgan State facing off at Florida A&M, Duke and Florida State. We have Kansas and the Oklahoma Sooners. UNLV and New Mexico, I don't know why I cannot speak today, but San Jose State and San Diego State this evening to wrap up all the games for tonight. But there is some interesting news with the ranking. So Baylor, it has been ranked number 1 by the AP men's basketball poll for the first time. So the Bears right now are currently 15-0, and they've been doing very well. So they received 55 first place votes from the 65 possible votes that they could have received as far as first place is concerned. The Bears won over Oregon, who was number 4 at the time, Xavier number 7 at the time, as well as Louisville and Michigan State, who had to face off. We do also, Villanova received 1 first place vote. They've been number 1 for the last 5 weeks, but now they're 15-1 after losing to Butler last week. So they've actually dropped down to number 3. Kansas, who is 14-1, who received 8, has moved up from being 3rd place now to 2nd place, giving Big 12 to have the top 2 teams on the poll. UCLA 16-1 stayed in 4th place. We have Gonzaga and Kentucky, who stayed at 5th and 6th with Duke, Creighton, Florida State, and West Virginia to take off the rest of the top 10 slots available. So like I said, there's going to be a lot going on, and everything throughout the entire season counts, but really right now is when these games are really going to count, because just losing 1 game can slide you down so many slots, because Villanova was number 1 for 5 straight weeks, but after just one loss is now number 3. So these next few games are very, very important because, you don't always want to be that team who bets on another team to win to help you, or another team to lose to help you gain a better slot on the polls. You just want to have it. You want to do it. You want to hold on to your spot. So the Bears, like I said, are currently number 1, followed by, we have Kansas number 2 and Villanova top 3. So those are your top 3 with the polls as of today. So it's going to be really nice to watch basketball tonight because we have 3 top 15 matchups: Xavier, Villanova, Baylor, West Virginia, and Duke and Florida State. So it's going to be a lot of fun today. So like I said, if you have time, depending on what you guys are doing, you guys are going to be able to enjoy so much hoop action, both on the NBA front as well as the college basketball side. So that is going to be a lot of fun today. I'm very excited. And it looks like that's actually going to do it for this episode of the podcast. I'm your host, Pauline. Look forward to an episode tomorrow with our new guy, Ben. I'm really excited. He's going to bring a lot of great insight to the show. I'm excited to grow with him as this show changes, develops, and grows as well. And I think it's going to be a lot more fun and a lot better for everyone because now we are going to be having basketball every single day. So there's no need for us to miss anything. We're going to be able to stay on top of all the news as it breaks. We're going to be able to stay on top of rankings as they change, different players and the decisions, what's going around the court, both in college and in the NBA. Nothing's going to be missed. I'm very excited about this new transition that we have going on with the show. I hope you guys are excited too. So tomorrow, keep a lookout for an episode with just Ben. I'm excited for him as well as for, we're going to be alternating. We're going to be doing some stuff together. We'll see how many times we can double up with Ben to get some insight from not only him, from myself. And it's a lot of fun because I think he's more of a college basketball kind of guy. And I love that because so am I. So it's going to be a lot more fun. But like I said, so keep it locked in tonight. We have a lot to talk about tomorrow. You have been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and we will see you guys next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.